Hey, what's up? I just had an idea for a video, and with this, I want to start this one by saying that I was watching a piece of content, and someone was challenging people, admonishing people to make to make original content, like in the form of challenge a person to talk in front of a camera, and there's a there's a couple things that I've heard. There's two things that I've ever heard someone say that it's a like a lot of times, like you can imagine most things that would have a skill, you can imagine it'd be difficult to learn it. But the two things that I've heard people that do that skill say that it's hard to do is to sing and play an instrument at the same time, and also talking to a camera. So that's one my actual great my the one of the greatest men that I ever met, just in terms of the impact that they had on my life. I'm almost damn near about to make another video about this, but I've had a few great men that have blessed my life, specifically that had an impact on my life. I think it's not good to impose or assume our experience on other people, but I would assume and impose that anyone watching this, likely if you had some wins in your life, likely there may have been one or two people at least, maybe not necessarily a man, but likely also maybe other young people, other people a little bit older than you, other people more so older than you, but probably not way too much older than you, but there'd probably be a few people in your life, both male and female, that had an impact on you. One is that I would imagine if they were female, more so the female, from my standpoint as a male, the female would be a benefit in terms of inspiration, because a lot of the times, like when my entire life got into a new phase, it was still actually kind of a man that inspired me like that, but it was the woman that gave me something to be inspired about. So sometimes there's it's not easy to be you, whoever you are, whatever you are. I would imagine that it's not easy to be a woman or even a girl growing up, but some of whatever it takes to become a woman or exist as a girl, it can really inspire other people, like men or like boys growing up. I'd be inspired by different girls, and there's this brilliant uh, um, poet. He's like a, you can't really describe what he is. He's just kind of a creative person, but he's from Canada. His name is Zamparian. He had a book called The Alabaster Girl. It kind of looks like a romance novel on the top of it, but it's like the thought process of a ladies' man. Not ladies' man in terms of winning, like getting favors from ladies or going on dates and stuff like that, but actually just really appreciating what it means to be a woman from the standpoint of a man, appreciating that in women, and just being a lover of women. When you say a student, that sounds a little bit manipulative, because sometimes we don't think about, like, oh, such and such is a student. So what are you being a student for? To manipulate some form of skill, but really to gain an advantage over situations or people. But that person's a bad driver, because I'm walking out the alley. They should have slowed down for me, and then they damn near ran into oncoming traffic. But you got so maybe, and that was a woman too. So as I'm making a video, big up in women, but they also say women can't drive. So maybe that I'm just being a ham with that. But the exception proves the rule, and things are exactly balanced. So as great as women are, that one wasn't the best driver, because she damn near ran me over and then ran herself into oncoming traffic, trying to come out of alley at like 20 miles an hour. But women are beautiful. Women are beautiful, and women are great drivers too. But Zamparian, he had that video. He has that book about women, and I was actually coming through some very rough times in my life when I came up on that book, and appreciating the beauty in women. I don't know, like, whatever you appreciate of art, but I think the cooler of art, it would pay homage to the beauty of women, or it would be cool. And like sometimes the things that we think are cool, somehow we think that they would be cool to a woman also. Like for whatever man is interested in anything, right? Oh, so you're interested in cars? Yeah, I like muscle cars. I like motorcycles. I like guitar. Well, why do you like guitar? Because it might make you look cool in front of a woman, if you're being honest. But actually, the thing that would make you look cooler in front of a woman, even than a guitar, even than a motorcycle, is what that does to you. Because one is that you don't think about a guitar as listening, and it's how well a guitar can listen when it's stable. maybe it's so articulate because it's in stress that whole time, the strings, and you're relieving of that stress. So now it's more eloquent for that amount of stress. So it's actually eloquent for how much it's being fettered. It's free for how much it's being fettered. But and it's actually there's a scene in Transformers with the great Bernie Mac, and he's talking about the bond between man and machine. It's when this boy's getting his first car. It's a mystical bond, and the machine picks the rider, but it's something that he's like, it's something that you can't quite explain. The mystical bond between man and machine. And he's like, oh really? And then he gets his car. He's like, whoo, whoo, whoo. I'm just driving my car. So like that. But I had a mystical bond with the car once, but it belonged to my mom. And then I taught my brother's ass how to drive, and he was like, the whole time he was like pissed off. He's always pissed off at me, so he's pissed off that whole time while I'm teaching him how to drive. So it's like, if you can imagine like teaching your parent how to drive, because he'll like act like he's somebody's parent, and I got like a lot of years on him. But it's like teaching your pissed off, like, you know, when you're in a car with your parent and they're not happy with you, and it's quiet and you don't feel, it's like kind of tense like that. It was like that while I'm teaching him how to drive. Like don't talk to me, but how do you do that? Okay, but don't talk to me. And then but then he did enjoy driving like that character in that film for the hell of it, any and anywhere. So it's like there's a mystical bond between man and the machine. What if the machine and the machine picks the driver? But what if it had picked two drivers at the same time? And as you kick me the hell out of the car, what does that mean to my mystical bond to the machine? And did the machine want you to do that? And if it did, was my bond to it so mystical? But we actually get better sometimes when we get kicked the hell out of things, and we fall the hell off of things, and we break things or get them confiscated from us, if you follow the line of reasoning with that, as guitars, motorcycles, and cars go. But the greater experience of a motorcycle is that it might actually, the greatest experience of a motorcycle might be to get on a motorcycle, feel what your body can do on a motorcycle, feel how this life responds to your movement, see how you're free to move, the different ways you can ride a motorcycle, cool. Then crash it, survive the crash, but have to work for your healing, regain full health, even more of health, but also the experience of your body now. So now you know what your body can do and what it's worth, such that you may not be interested or need to get on a motorcycle to feel happy, to enjoy life, and even to impress women. Because I think that a lot of times, like, you see like motorcycles, like you're on a motorcycle, you know you're getting a lot of attention because like, damn, there go a motorcycle. And sometimes you'll hear comments like, even like a lot in this life, we don't get our flowers, right? So when's the last time somebody actually walked up to you with a flower? But you get on a cool enough motorcycle and you'll get some real badasses. Like even like if you walk outside looking tough, a lot of people would like they'll challenge you. But you walk out on a motorcycle and you're believable, and even badasses will be like, oh hey man, I just wanted to say these are for you, man. These are your flowers, man. I just want to say she's beautiful. That bike is really beautiful, and I wanted you to have these flowers, you know. But they mean that shit too, because they probably know what it would have had to. What they're really saying, like when someone gives you props for a motorcycle, and you maybe look unseeming for being on that motorcycle, they're like, damn, it's not easy to get your hands on cool things in this life, not the least of which a motorcycle. Whatever in the hell you had to do to get up on a motorcycle and not have anyone looking over your shoulder, mom, dad, Uncle Sam, little bro, stuff like that, and you're riding down the goddamn street on this cool motorcycle and nobody got a goddamn thing to say about it. And if they do pull you over, you got something to show them that they now don't have a goddamn thing to say about it. That had to mean something for you to come to that point and have the taste to do that, and the gall to do that, the nuts to do that, this and that. So that's actually kind of dope. So it's actually not superficial or like materialistic when someone gives you props for a motorcycle like that. But still, when you're on the motorcycle, you're getting a lot more attention than you normally would. But sometimes, all I meant to say is we do a lot of things because we can safely expect, or we in fact do get attention for them, especially from women, like the different things that men would do. But according to Zan Perrion, is that if you get a bunch of men together, right? We're gonna have a guys' night out. We're gonna have a weekend. It's all of us. This is the fellas, the guys. And the way I'm saying that, you can tell I haven't had that experience. I don't hang with people like that. Not that that's good or bad, but they'll get to talking about women, or you get women together long enough. Oh, hey, this is Sally. Hey, this is my cousin. What are they gonna do? They're gonna talk about other women. Or you get a dumbass on a camera like me with unlimited video bandwidth on a phone, talking about whatever comes into my mind, and I get to talking about women. So, but we do a lot of things for the sake of women, even the things we enjoy on some level, even things like art. But women are really beautiful though. And so all I meant to say that a lot of beauty, a lot of art, a lot of metaphor, a lot of literature, a lot of living and dying, a lot of romance, a lot of chemistry, and things that we do with all that is for the sake of women, because women are simply beautiful, and we can't appreciate how that comes to be. It's not, I can imagine it's not easy by any means to be a woman and to be a beautiful woman. But I'm not saying whether that's a woman's doing or a woman's essence, or what combination of that would make a woman that beautiful. But that's really a lot of life. In the East, they say a woman is not only beautiful, a woman is life. So the reason a woman is beautiful is because a woman is life. And if you approach women from that standpoint, you may be tasteful or tactful around women of any stature, of any appearance, of any ethnicity, of any kind, caste or creed. A woman is simply beautiful. And if you can appreciate the beauty of woman, you, from that standpoint, you're already an artist, because you appreciate the beauty of life. But also, if you can, but a lot of art is discipline. So if you can be disciplined within that, tactful, tasteful, you yourself become more beautiful, because you become possessed of that which you are interested in. So you actually become possessed of some of the beauty of a woman by loving and or serving women. That's been my experience. You are, I should say, more of people. But also, when you do that, if you really appreciate what a woman is, you appreciate that a woman is more than a woman and more than female, because women are attached to people deeply. I would imagine anyone listening to this, think of yourself or someone you know. Do you know any woman that's not attached to people, whether that be other women, for a woman, other woman, her children, someone she loves, children, her boyfriend, her parents, her this or that. A woman has people in her life on a closer wavelength that are interested in her. Or even I saw a woman that was living a nomad life, kind of a little bit like what I was flirting with, getting stuck in trouble. But she was good at it and savvy, but she was getting love online too. But I'm not trying to say women are entitled to friendships and relationships, but likely women are closely attended by other people, and they draw people in by their essence. So that from that standpoint, a woman is more than a woman. I think there's a song like more than a woman, something like that. But women are if you appreciate any people that are having a connection, you can appreciate they're having a connection because they're together, but you can't see the attachment that's between them, the bond that is, but it's there. So that from that standpoint, they're the same person. So if you say you had a girlfriend, right? So you just meet this beautiful thing that walked up, and she's really interested in you for you. There's this cold song from it's like a cold rock song, and this song they go back and forth diss battles, like who really won between Jay-Z and Nas. Who really won this beat? Those are cold lyricists. That's a whole nother conversation, lyricism like that. But if you wanted to go bar for bar, track for track, beat for beat, genre for genre, this one versus that one, what about alternative versus hip hop? Now I'm a hip hop head. I like different genres to balance, and I liked alternative my whole life, especially the 90s stuff, which I was old enough to remember it, or young enough to remember it. But there was this one song, you get a lot of hip hop, right? What's the hip hop song? Any song that you know about hip hop that's flossing, right? It's like flossing at all, even flossing how dangerous, or what flossing anything. And then you get this other alternative song. She likes me for me. She likes me for me. I think that dude, he just checkmated every person in genre, even stuff that's beautiful and soulful, like some of my videos with the I'm not calling my own videos soulful, but my own videos with the Spanish guitar, romance, this and that, trying to win someone over. She likes me for me. It'd be cool if I could remember more of that song. That's about it. That's about as real as it gets, man. She likes me for me, man. Hey man, what's up with this and that? I saw my girlfriend's number in your phone. Are you calling my girlfriend? She likes me for me. that might be the coldest thing you could say in life. But if you did do that and you did have someone that she likes me for me, then you still would have to you'd have to be around someone that's in her life, likely, unless she like really, unless she's just like, she likes you for you, and she's you also with your nomad wannabe bohemian stuff, like the type of time I'm on. I haven't got that one yet, but so all I'm saying is that if you have someone that's in your life, like a woman, you're gonna be obliged to be in the to have other people in your life that may not be women, that may be women or may not be women, whether other adults, other people, male and females, but also male. So from that standpoint, if you truly appreciate women, you love women, you also serve women, even a woman, truly, that would lead you to both first be patient around, then maybe serve, then maybe also love other people, including other adults, other people, male and female. So what I meant to say is that by becoming I don't want to say student because that still sounds manipulative, like you have an objective to change something, to understand something so well as to have advantage in that endeavor. So I'm not going to say student, but if you are an appreciator of women, such that, and it becomes who you are, because if you're interested in something long enough, it becomes who you are, and you act on something at a certain point. If it's really interesting to you first, who you are second, what you do third, then maybe what you are after that, and what you can be in on like that. But if that were the case, and you really come to some form of christening, that's like when a butterfly comes out of the cocoon. You christen into the greater version of you. Maybe the greatest version of you is the more humane and graceful member of this life, because this life is beautiful, and it's nowhere more beautiful than when you're at your best, whatever your best means to you. But when you appreciate women, you maybe at a certain time you may be skilled, you may be have more graces around women, be more welcoming and enjoyed by women in a woman's life, then in people's life, then in life. So you make not only women better and yourself better, but you make life better. But one entry, because a lot of things, the first step is the greatest step of anything. So the beginning of that would actually be appreciate. For me, it was appreciating women. That book about what Zamparian says in there, that a lot of it has nothing to do in itself with endearing a person to women or manipulating women, but he's like, and also in that book, his banter with it's like they'll do different books that's like a conversation, but the author's also authoring the words of their like interlocutor, that's like the person that you're speaking with or interviewing with or dialoguing with one-on-one. I don't know how you say, so mano y mano, mano y mana, because hermano is brother, mano y mano, like that's like a cool way to say bro, like in Spanish is mano, and then like I don't know if they abbreviate hermana like that as in mana, but mano y mana was that conversation. And but if you look at the playfulness in that conversation, the banter, the lightheartedness, but also the wit that gets when you become more, because a lot of people are intelligent, like, you know, you see this, you have crazy thoughts all the time. Anyone watching this, you have crazy thoughts a lot, but you're also invested in them, and you sometimes judgmental and stuff like that. Even me myself, like especially like the comments that I make sometimes about bad deals that I've gotten into, or like things that didn't go my way. But if you can be lighthearted, your crazy self, and enjoy comedy for the sake of comedy, not that something's that funny, but you appreciate you appreciate a sense of humor. Like I had this friend, like I had some funny friends when I was growing. That's one of the graces. We all have like certain graces in this life. You know, like you have your life sucks, life's horrible, life's a lot of things that don't go in the tenor of this video, but you have some graces and redemption in there that make life worth living and also livable and survivable. And for me, that would have been my friends. I had this small friend set, and when I say set, we weren't affiliated with anything, but it was like me, this older friend that I've referenced a few times, and then another friend that was like in between us. We were all first generation African Americans. They had been born in Africa, the same region that I'm from. So me and my older friend, we were Namibian, but I was born in the United States, and he was only about like 3 or 4 years older than me. But by the time I was very young, like 3 and 4, I had already had experiences around him here. But he was born in Africa, lived here when I was little, went back to Africa, and then came back here by the time I got back from the Midwest. and then we had another friend from this friend was from it's kind of funny. We were always introducing himself to people to each other. If you look at it historically, I was introducing the group to girls. They were introducing me to other sketchy, outcast kind of dudes like us that were like, they weren't actually out. None of us were like outright criminals, but we were just a little bit like iffy. Like, so this is a college campus, right? What are y'all's ass doing walking across the lawn right now, dressed like that we know your ass didn't matriculate? Well, my friend did matriculate, but he didn't have the GPA to matriculate, so that's a whole nother discussion. What are y'all's ass doing sauntering across the lawn like that with nothing better to do? And a couple of you seem like you ain't showered that recently like that. What are y'all's ass up to? You didn't see us do nothing wrong except walk on grass, but what are y'all's ass up to? For us, it had just been like being more around beautiful girls. That's what, if we were around a campus, well, we were actually kind of interesting guys, because we might just like come up to a campus, bump music, get lost a little bit, talk to different people we don't know, and then come back as sound sketchy as shit. But we were just some generally useless, sketchy people that weren't necessarily out to do anything. That we weren't against nobody. We're just regular guys. But we were like off the beaten path like that. And one time my friend, my older friend, he referred to us as the outcasts. Like he referred to the group of us. That's what he named us, the outcasts. But that's actually what we really were. But it's partly because we were new to this culture. So we were African American seeming and familiar, but we weren't truly essentially from an African American pedigree. But we embraced and enjoyed the culture. But my other friend, he was from where was he from? I think he was from not Zimbabwe, not Botswana. Zimbabwe, Botswana, right there in southern Africa, but not. Dang, I should be able to remember that. But he kind of had like a heavy accent, but he actually used English better than us. Like he was just so he could rap, but English was his second language, and he'd be like I mentioned another video. Like I had another friend, my fitness friend, and my fitness friend was like if it came down to a fight, to a scrap, physical exertion and meanness, my fitness friend would have fucked all of us over, even that my friend that was African like that. But my fitness friend was like, he could always verbally, like he was cold, like he's the type of person where he could talk shit while fighting. Like a lot of people, like they talk like, yeah man, I'll whoop your ass, this and that, yeah fuck it, let's go for a run then, let's see who can run the first. And they're like, wait up. But my other friend, he'd be talking shit that whole time, like, where you at man, let's go. He'd be running backwards, let's go. Oh shit, damn, I almost felt like that. But he'd be doing crazy. Don't run for the sake of it, because you can trip like that, especially wearing sandals, and your ass only been wearing sandals since this summer. But he would be talking while also he could back that up, and he could talk it and walk it together. That's actually that's a unique skill set, just like being able to sing without warming up. As I was saying in another video, most people can sing, but they gotta warm up. Most people can talk shit and a little bit exert themselves, but not the combination. But he would still always like throw these softball lobs to get himself like stuck verbally. So we'd be like in a car back then, and that's when you still had like that's before the iPod had become popular. I almost forgot to reference the iPod. I don't know if I referenced the iPod when I was talking about the transition of technology with like Steve Jobs and the smartphone from the flip phone to the smartphone. The iPod had attended that, and that had been inspired as like an offshoot to offset CD burning in the Napster phase, and bring back music purchase on the individual track level with like iTunes. And that's actually what gives us our smartphones, if you follow the history of that. I was trying to convey that just for the record. But then but he would be, my friend, he would have like some cold music, and then my friend's like, my fitness friend was like, what you put on there? He's like, oh, I got a little bit of this, a little bit of that. He could just say something very trite, and that's actually a form of art, when you can use something that's cliche, but you use it in original and very articulate way. It's kind of like humor is like that also, where like with humor, a lot of times you can take something like very, very like a very played out regular way of saying things that everyone's familiar with, but then you use it with timing in a situation, and it could be hilarious like that. But it's the same also with like rapping and stuff like that. It's like an example of that was like one of my favorite tracks, and one of the deepest tracks I've ever heard was No Flocking by what's his name, Kodak Black that came out in 2016. And when Kodak Black made that, he's like, it's this video of him in the street, right? Like in the middle of the street at night. And he's like very, very comfortable being in the street with this dark beat that's like crazy dark, and he's just out there in the street like that, like no flocking. But he's actually similar to my friend, because I think Kodak Black is, and I'm not trying to just name drop nobody, but it's for the sake of learning. He's I think he may be Haitian, so he's Haitian, and then I don't know how long he's been in America or his family, but he uses the American African Indian. We're still one people, us Africans, and he's from the Americas, but not the United States of America. But that some of that talent, but also the just being connected to the people. Because sometimes you see like me as a brother, I'm a brother. I see some other brothers, they stick out to me. It's not that they stick out to me because I have a problem with them, but because we're actually connected deeply. Like a lot of us, like from the diaspora, you can feel it sometimes. But so he came here, and all I meant to say is that skill with the verbalism, it can be that like rapping, hip hop, rapping, an American tradition, but you can get some people from Africa that are very something can click in them where it works for them, just like they've been here colder than some of us that been here a couple years longer. But then also when I was talking about that connection between us, that's actually the reason I started this video, is because I wanted to talk something about to speak something about racial issues, but in the affirmative and enlightening, based on the experience that I had today. But he had this line, this bar in that track that was like, no, c'est la vie. So he said, so c'est la vie it's kind of beautiful, but it's actually kind of a little bit like, it's like a little bit very commonplace. Like not as much now. It would have been more commonplace in other like decades, but c'est la vie I think that means such is life in French. But that's actually, so what he said there is, it is what it is. When you say it is what it is, you're also saying such is life. And so, but he said it is, but us is interesting because if you think about it, that's actually interesting. He's Haitian. I think they may speak French in Haiti, French Haitian. So that might actually be an exact of the brilliance of the song No Flocka. From that standpoint, it would be the actual cross germination of, you take a person of African descent with affinity with an African people, but also similar talent as music genres that were birthed by African people, land here as a first generation, also have some of the influences of that nation, Haiti, that would be your influences there as an African member of Haitian society with the French language, then also the French language itself, which is European, and its employment by Europeans. You combine all that, then also the idiom the idiom is like when you say something that doesn't make sense outside of its context or outside of the culture vernacular. It doesn't make sense on the surface, but it makes sense when you know what it means. That's an idiom. So it is what it is actually an idiom. That'd be an American African idiom. But so he just took an idiom that was popular then, like 2016 when that came out, but then he used his experience and his talent and exactly flipped it into French. So he's like, da 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 da, c'est la vie. So he said it was so damn smooth how he did that line right there. But that's an example of how you can take something that's commonplace, but then you take you had this whole mixture concoction of who you are, what your talent is, what's currently trending, what you've been exposed to, and where you're at now, and what you got to say about it. And it's just very unique like that, like c'est la vie. And so I want someone coming out here wouldn't be the first one to say it is what it is or c'est la vie, but you take that in that position in that rap and it's like c'est la vie. It's cold like that. But my friend was exactly the same way from Africa, where he would say stuff like that, where it's like he would do rapping too, and that wasn't the only way he would rap, because he was funny as hell. He could say some wicked, he had a cold mouthpiece, man. Like to this day, man, there's certain people you don't want problems with. I wouldn't necessarily want problems with the British, man. I don't know what it is about men from England, but they're very sincere when they got a problem with the whole damn Europe, like England, Ireland, damn it, Germany. I wouldn't necessarily, like my music teacher, I'm getting up with him. He's from Slovenia. They're really, in some parts of Europe, like your Eastern Europe like that, they're really cold with technical skills. Like he's mean how he approaches things. My first lessons with him, we weren't playing no music. He was just having me do stuff with my fingers on the instrument. So, but just from that standpoint, I wouldn't necessarily want problems with any like person of a European background, but nor African nor Asian nor any background. But my friend was cold with the mouthpiece like that. Like to this day, I wouldn't want a fucking problem with him, like as verbalism goes, because he could really like make you feel like a little kid. Like another thing he said once, we had this little hoopty. It was my older friend's first hoopty. I worked at a summer camp, a Christian summer camp, and in the gospel church, and then I like that whole summer I kind of banked for my age then coming into senior year. I banked on that, and I actually rode that for like the whole first semester of 12th grade. But I spent like 1/4 of it I gave to my friend, and I gave one quarter of my summer earnings to my best friend, my older friend. He used 1/3 of that for his first car. Then we spent that car, the three of us, just like getting lost, listening to music and trying to crash parties with beautiful women. And not crashes like being a problem, but just like locate where they're at and show up there, and not having necessarily been invited. So like like that first semester of like college, like my ass didn't go there, but he did. And then so like we'd be like all these parties, like the state school, and I'd be seeing all these girls that I grew up with. So every time we went to a damn party, I'd see some of these girls that I knew from like elementary school and high school, and some of them they were like, you know, like so like they say like most people, they have like a backup option, right? Like even married women, they got a backup option somewhere, or they know of an option if it came down to it, but they likely also got a backup option. It's kind of like your bench warmers, or like your second string. You're also giving them a little bit of attention and practice and training, and you're getting them ready for the game if they got to jump in there. So if there's a problem with your star player, hey man, get in there, man, get in there. If that would have been me, I would have been busting them threes, because I normally wasn't that good of a team player, but I did practice alone so much that if you put me in there like that, I'd be instant offense for you like that. If I got hot, but if I wasn't hot, then it's different. But so women, they got their instant offense like that, the second string, and men would too if we had our way. But in high school, you got damn near, it's not like A-list celebrity, you got A, B, C, D, Z, Z3, Z4. So in high school, you actually got a whole Rolodex like of people that would be potential prospects that because when you're so young and you got so much hormones, damn it, everyone looks attractive. Everyone could potentially be this and that when you're young. But then you bump into them, it's like, oh yeah, I remember he was my that was my S tier. No, it was that A, B, C, D, elemental P, Q, R, S, T. That was my T tier prospect back in school. So I bumped into I must have been like some of these girls' T-tier prospects back in the day, but we actually got up afterwards, like from some of these places we didn't belong at. And so like some of these girls that I went to school with, even some like from elementary, we'd hang out after these parties that our ass didn't belong at that I met. But we were always bopping around. And that's another thing. Women are more so, they're sometimes better with words. So I was just listening to a woman recently who said bopping. That's a really excellent word for driving in cars that she had at her command. So we would be bopping around in that car. And then one time we were like fighting over, so I'm fighting for the front seat in a car that I somewhat paid for, that I somewhat bought. That was somewhat of my shit. But they wouldn't have understood it like that. But then my friend was in the back seat. My older friend was like, oh man, which one of y'all's ass is gonna sit in the front seat? I was like, oh man, I'm about to sit in the front seat. And then he didn't even put up a fight. And my friend's like, damn, you just gonna let him have the front seat like that? He's like, oh man, let the kids enjoy the view. He would say cool shit like that. And it's like a very like simple, trite thing, but he just placed it with timing like that. I really got off on a trip with that tangent. But so the three of us, we were kind of like outcasts like that. And but the redemption and all that, because we had some rough lives. If you think of our background, really, like that friend from Africa, I think his parents were lost his parents were actually lost to AIDS. I don't mean to be blasting nobody's business, but just for the sake of this learning, his parents were lost to AIDS by the time he was already. So the reason he was here is because he had family here, and then they sent him here, and he went to boarding school here. So my friend that my older African friend, they had met at a boarding school. So I'm from the Twin Cities, but they'd be at this boarding school like a few hours away with all these like well-to-do students. So you can imagine the way I'm describing these guys, they were a problem at that boarding school socially, like not causing trouble, but they would be getting into mischief with all the girls there. And I think the way those two guys actually met is that there's this beautiful girl, right? There's this beautiful girl that they were both sweating, that she was the most beautiful girl at this castaway boarding school that everybody's ass was stuck at. So everybody was about that girl, but I think these two, they would have been actually getting some attention, like probably landing some shots, some jokes around her. So they were actually in the heat for the same girl. But they weren't friends at that point, but they were just after the same girl. So my older friend, he was like a little bit more of a player. They were both like they would both be winning with girls. But the older one, he was a little bit smoother. The second one was more interesting to girls because he was just a little bit darker and crap. You just see him and you know, like, damn man, he must have something up his sleeve. Like he just looked like he always had something up his sleeve. But he was like that verbally, and he did have it up his sleeve like that. So they would be like talking, they were interested in the same girl, right? And then because they were interested in the same girl, they became friends. But what they didn't know is that the friend that was like a little bit smoother, he had like damn near almost won her over. But then all of a sudden she started acting strange, like she flaked on him. But he was like the kind of guy that normally didn't get flaked on like that. He wasn't used to getting flaked on. When we were young, he was like kind of like a little bit nerdy, and he had glasses. But then he kind of blossomed at a certain point, and it went the other way like that. So anyone watching this, if you're nerdy and you got glasses, it can go the exact other way because life is a balance like that and it's rebound like that. But he would be like, all of a sudden he couldn't understand. She looked kind of like, back in that time there'd be this show called Smallville. I think the girl from that show, she was very beautiful for that time. Like a lot of people probably had a crush on her. I would always see that show. I wasn't really all about the WB television show channel, but I was aware of that face, and I would see it different random places, and I'm like, damn, she looks kind of good. But I think everyone, they kind of liked her, and like she got into some crazy controversy later. That's like one of your celebrities that got their ass locked up since being grown. But there's actually something a little bit like kind of wicked about the WB, and I was like the wicked broadcast, and I always had a misgiving about that channel. Like something just didn't feel right, something just didn't sit with me right about the WB or like those teenage shows like that. And even her, that character on Smallville, she was beautiful as hell, but she looked like I would never win with a girl like that. And like there's something like a little bit like I was not intimidated because she's so beautiful, but like something wasn't right about her, like something kind of dangerous. And then that my friend was had a deep crush on her, and I was like, and the fact that he doesn't like her, because I always had misgivings about him too. The fact that he likes her like that, something ain't right about both their ass and that show. That's what I was thinking in the back of my mind. But he had been sweating this other girl that actually looked like her, because I went with him to a reunion. That's another place that my ass didn't belong, that I'd be somewhere because I could potentially meet girls there. I actually went out of town 2 hours to go to a reunion of a boarding school, and I didn't know nothing about that school, the people there, and it was also a religious school, and I didn't actually believe in that religion, but I'll be there. And then we also got in a fight going up there about who would be driving, because they always wanted to drive and rock the front seat here, but for a long ass road trip, then they want me driving. But so they got up there, and like what we found out in the car on the way there is that they were fighting over the same girl, and then that girl flaked off on the one that was in the lead of the heat, my older friend. But what they found out in the car is that my other friend, the crafty friend that had been here less in America, he had actually wrote that girl a love letter in the name of my other friend, and he wrote some sketchy ass shit in there. Like the way I'm describing him, he had a cold mouthpiece. So he wrote like a stalker type, creepy type love letter to this girl. They were both fighting over. Their ass were both fighting over. But he actually did that like cold. Like that'd be funny for some little kids, but that's actually kind of serious, like for grown people, and for it to work like that. He just wrote a sketchy ass, creepy ass love letter. What's the word for that? Billet doux. That book that I read about, that I mentioned in this video about Zan Perion and his love for women. He uses some brilliant vocabulary in there, and I was wondering if that was his real vocabulary. He had an app for it, but he used the word billet doux. That's the real word for a love letter. Like I think that's another French word. So he wrote a sketchy billet doux to this girl they were fighting over. It effectively messed my other friend out of the running. He actually compromised that friendship of theirs with that letter. and they became friends. He never told him about that until it came out in conversation on our way up to this reunion where my ass didn't belong there. That's actually kind of deep. And then he's like, wait, that was you? Oh, fuck, man. Like, she's going to still think. So my friend was messed up about that he did that. But he could tell you a cold, he could actually lie like that. He could tell you, he could do some stuff like that, but it was actually who he really was. Like, sometimes when people do something sketchy enough, but it's who they really are, you can't even get mad at them because that's the way they're with you. That's the way they are with them. That's the way they're with all people. So it's not personal because that's just who he is. But it's not some shit you belong around. So props to him for fucking over my older friend, and he got around to fucking me over 2 different times. But props to him because he was working at a disadvantage because he had been here longer. So if you fucked us over and you've been here less, and you did it skillfully, goddamn it, you got to give props where it's due, man. Point, check, game, match, I guess. But I'm still walking, so I can still do other games. But we were some outcasts like that, and but the redemption in that was that we had humor. My point is that we had humor, and that's what kept us together. That's how we could actually be somewhat not trusting each other, but like people wouldn't even understand why we would hang out. Like my friend. He had a friend, my older friend, he had an older brother that was even cooler than him, even savvier than him, but also dangerous too, because that friend that did that sketchy stuff, I saw him check him, like he would check him as hard, like he'd be like, hey man, sit down over there, man, I gotta talk to you. And he was damn it about to sit down because he was serious about sitting down. He's like that older brother that's your older brother, and he tell you what to do, but he's like that out in life too, like in the street, in the club, in sketchy places, in cool places. He's himself, and he's actually everyone's big brother in life. So he was my big brother too, and he was that dude's big brother from Africa too, because and he was funny as hell too, and he had a cold mouthpiece too. But he was like, sometimes he'd be like I was there like with his brother. He didn't understand why I would hang out with his brother because he thought I was cooler than his own brother. He's like he would say things like from the side, like he was talking to his mom, like when I was hanging out there one time. He's like, man, I don't understand why people hang out who they hang out with. I don't understand that shit. And he could never understand why I hung out with those guys. And people couldn't understand why we would hang out with each other, do the things we do to each other, still hang out with each other, and why we would be anywhere, because we really had no business really being anywhere hanging together. But what kept us together was just the humor, because we had this same sense of humor, the three of us. So like one time that older friend, he had his first apartment first, he went to college first, he had his first car first, but also his dad was savvy like that, and his dad like did different maneuvers so that they could even be here, because they normally probably couldn't have even been here. But his dad would, not that he didn't think it illegal, but he was just savvy and stuff, that he knew how to find opportunities. So he'd find opportunities for his son, and his son was very talented, but at that time he wasn't responsible. But people could never figure out why we would be anywhere. In a certain way, you couldn't really figure out why our ass would even be in America, how our ass could even be in America. I was born here, but still, like my dad comes from a crazy background too. But my dad had to do valiant things to come here, and I'm sure his dad had to do valiant things. And then my other friend, he did valiant things once he was here with that unfortunate thing in his past. But we all had some different things working against us. Like my friend, he had lost his parents from AIDS, and then he came here with English as a second language, like very late in high school. So as hard as it was for me to go to the South from the North, it's in terms of culture shock, he actually came from another country to another country at the end of high school, not knowing the language, if that's not culture shock, and then to be probably smoother than anyone in that culture, because he was smooth as hell like that. So that's dope that he did that. And then my older friend, he was hilarious, but he also had he hadn't been so attractive when he was young, because he kind of had like a very nerdy appearance and these thick bifocals. But then somehow in later high school, he actually became very handsome, like strikingly handsome. His older brother had always been like that his whole life, and probably still like that to this day. But the younger brother had not been like that his whole life. But then exactly like as a young man, he blossomed into his appearance and his swagger. But then he had been hilarious that whole time, and he had actually learned to become hilarious because of some of the deprivation of his appearance, which is because he had a difficulty with his eyes based on his he had a very fair complexion, although he was African, and he had some difficulty with his eyes, and it was very limiting. It's actually dangerous for us to be in that car because he couldn't see very well, and he had some kind of accommodation to drive. his dad his wherever, if something was possible, his dad would figure out how to get it done. But a normal person probably couldn't been driving like that with that vision like that. But his dad knew exactly how to get something done if it needed to get done, and it can be done. So he barely had that license, but he also could barely perceive traffic the same. And he we'd watch TV when we were little, but he could be like way up to the TV like that to watch it. He'd sit strange like this. So like say this is a TV right here. He'd be squatting like this in front of the TV to watch it, and he'd watch it really deep like that. But he had also taught me how to ride a bike, so he couldn't see very well. But he'd ride bikes and he'd do like this bunny hopping, like he could damn near jump over like an island, like a boulevard thing, like over there. There's like a boulevard thing. He'll jump over that damn thing on a bike, or if you had put like a crate, he'll jump over the damn thing on a bike. And he was very physically gifted, but he had that visual deprivation. And then me, I didn't have some of those same shortcomings as them, but I had some different dynamics in my home. And also like being biracial, like some racism from my parents' side, my mom's side of the family, and then a lot of different things like that. It can affect the development of a personality, such that for me, it was like that where I was I've always been kind of like a deep thinker, and I didn't try to be, and it didn't necessarily give me any favors, but I would always just simply be appreciated as a deep thinker. So like sometimes in the past, I had to learn to be more verbal. I actually learned that from some of those guys, like that older brother. But I actually learned to be more verbal as a skill set. So now I can go in places and I can actually be a ham, and like I'll just like start talking shit to any and everyone, but also like in good faith and humor. Part of that was from working as a bus driver and being around young people, that I learned to be more playful in engagement, but also like tactful, not to say something that'd be distasteful when there's a dynamic of stature where you can't be saying anything around young people, but also you can't be saying anything in life around people of a different background, even your same background. But all that, it blossomed for me later, but I still had a sense of humor back then, but I was struggling socially. I'll just put it like that. I was struggling socially, then chemically, then academically and professionally, in that order like that. So we had that working against us, but we had that same sense of humor. And like, I remember I'd be at my friend's apartment, he'd be like in the next room, like with his girlfriend, and they're asleep. And then me and my other friend, we'd be in the living room watching, like back that time they had this movie called State Property. Like there's this rapper named Beanie Siegel, and he had this line, get down or lay down, and if you lay down, you stay down. He would say that. And then he had there's that State Property movie, and I think it's about like some kind of like dope dealing or dope running, something like that. And then they got in a lot of trouble, and so it's that classic movie that, we're just getting the convenient opportunities to become dope runners. Now we're these big old dope runners. Now we're in over our head. Now the sky's falling. Now the end. So it's like that. But in one point of that movie, he was checking this other dude, and he was just like this. He was just like, and me and my friend from Africa thought that was so funny. In the middle of the night, we were laughing about that. He'd be like, he'd just be like, so me and him, anytime we go anywhere, he'd just be like this. He'd just be like, so that's just our sense of humor. And the sense of humor is even greater than the joke. The joke is there, it's funny, but the sense of humor is the funny thing. And so that's what I meant to say with this, is that your sense, if you can appreciate humor for the sake of humor, a sense of humor, then also take yourself less seriously, which that's actually not easy to do, to take yourself less seriously. So I'm seriously admonishing someone to take yourself less seriously, but just the combination of sense of humor, taking yourself less seriously, and then whatever crazy thoughts come into your head in life, because we all got crazy thoughts, but getting in the habit of saying out any and everything exactly the hell that came into your mind like that. It makes you, that's actually what your real interaction is with different people. What's coming into your head is your real interaction, your real social engagement. But more time we get in, anything you do is a habit. So you hold your tongue, you hold your peace, you speak now or forever, hold your peace. A lot of us are forever holding our peace, but it becomes like a habit of holding your peace. So you start having these crazy thoughts, and they're actually good for you to have those crazy thoughts, because that's what your interaction would, could, and should be at its best. But you're holding your peace and having the crazy thoughts, and then you're also, but you can't not communicate. So you're somewhat communicating those crazy thoughts that could be funny and lighthearted and exactly timely for that situation, but you're holding it in. You're still betraying some of that communication because you're always communicating. Then you're further holding it in, so you're getting awkward and shit like that. And I don't mean to disrespect anyone that's not verbal a lot, but I'm just saying that can be what that is. But it can also be overcome to a benefit. But just the lighthearted sense of humor, and then whatsoever in the hell crazy thing comes into your mind might be the best way to engage life. But then also, if you have the experiences to go with that, and maybe the learning and just the respect for people, tact for people, you can couch it. That means like calibrate or like aim it. You can couch it so that you don't piss people off, and it can be like redeeming and enlightening and endearing. But you inevitably will piss people off from time to time. But that just comes with the game. That's the game right there. This video became its own video like that. I did the reason I started this video was I was saying that likely you've had some men or just people in your life that impacted you for the better. I kind of launched off into the tirade about the beauty of women, but also men. A lot of men, they give us a lot of our best, the experiences that really are formative. So like both those guys, a lot of my personality is probably similar is from that, because you're salient. I read a book about the mind that says your salient peer group in high school, the people, the peers of yours that would be informing your tastes, and also your socializing and like sharing humor, also antagonizing you, stuff like that, competing with you. That makes you a lot of who you really are, and some of your mannerisms or your lenience, your tendencies socially and personally for your life over. But then on top of that, you might have people that stand out like that. Some people, you got your friends over here, but there's another person like that. You can't deny some people are just simply like cooler than life. I think in the modern time, a lot of people have tried to locate very cool people, and if you can locate a person like that, it's kind of like putting a saddle on a magical zebra. I had watched a documentary, and this guy was like, I just want to put a saddle on a little zebra and ride it like that. They're like, so what do you think about? They're about to go into something crazy, and they're like, so what do you think about this and that? What do you think about life? I just want to put a saddle on a little horse and ride it. But that's actually a lot of companies. They want to put a saddle on a little cool person and ride it. So some of your people, the greatest people, cool people, artists, all kinds of people, they're like that. There's some of these natural cool people that we have, but sometimes you can tap that and you make a killing about that. Some of your cool people, some people are so cool that other people that got nothing to do with them and they're like they have intergenerational wealth based on another person's coolness. Like some people, it's like that. How that's how potent coolness is. But I'd imagine the coolest people, the best of people at anything, we likely don't know who in the hell they are, because just life is like that there's a lot of casualties in this life, and there's a lot of bodies under the road, so you don't know what kind of cool people could have been this or that, but maybe something really egregious happened to them or around them or for them that we didn't get to meet them, or they just lived a normal life and they weren't interested, or they didn't have the opportunity, or they just went somewhere different than like really blowing up and having a little saddle put on them, whether they benefit or not. But some of these cool people, you meet them in life and they really change you. But then the thing I wanted to say is that I had an experience today where I've been having a lot of things go bad for me, and I was saying that like there's a connection between like sometimes like people like from Africa, like when we see each other in other countries, other places, you stick out to each other, but it's also because you're connected to each other. They say that this life in India, they say this life, the great mother of this life, she'll put you in any situation, a lot of situations, because such is life. But there's no situation you may be placed in where you don't have exactly what you need if you listen to your heart and your first mind. A lot of that what that resource is, generally speaking, the most of which is actually your brothers and sisters, but especially your brothers, is that because you whatever your means of surviving or understanding a vicinity is, likely one part of your understanding or navigating that is that you may come across a brother of some kind that would have an insight into that environment, or also opportunity for you, challenge also, danger maybe also, but opportunity. And so that's what goes with us anywhere you go. You land in Alaska, Idaho, Hawaii, Asia, there's likely a soul brother there. Whether or not they're from Africa, there'd be a soul brother somewhere around there, and that's your real grace in this life, is the soul brothers that you're around. But it's not limited to your same ethnicity. Is what I wanted to say, is that because I was at and that's where we go wrong. I think we go wrong. So I was listening to an interview of I was listening to an interview, and they're saying that when racism is going to change is the day that everyone realized they had been a soul brother that whole time, and that we're all exactly from the same origin, which is soul. We're from the same soul, and we're all soul brothers and sisters from the same soul. However, this life has taken us and our ancestors in different directions, and then we have different lifestyles, maybe even appearances based on our lane in those different environments over like great like time, eons, that we're still the same soul like that, and it's still soul. That our means of escape, but also enjoying this life, is soul, one another. But it's not limited to your physical appearance, and that's where we go wrong, is when we get simple-minded to think that anything is different because of our appearance. So I was at a grocery store, and I had this dilapidated belt. I went shopping for a belt since I got back to where I'm at now. And I went to this store like where I get like actually I got this shirt there. So I got some different looking clothes there. I get them there. But I was looking for belts, and they just had very small selection of belts. And I picked out this one that it looks good enough, good to go. It'll work, kind of cool. And then this lady's like, "Oh, sorry, that's a lady's belt." And I was like, at that point, like she's almost like saying, "Put that back, because that's a lady's belt. You don't belong with that." But I was like, "No, it's all good. I don't give a damn, man. It'll work." You know, it looked kind of cool. That's what I was thinking. I was like, so I bought it anyway. But all I meant to say is that it may not be appropriate for a man to wear a lady's belt, because ladies' belts tend to fall off. I thought that would be funny. I don't know if that was funny or that was a dipshit thing to say, but that belt, it didn't work for me. It got dilapidated without me doing anything wrong. It's kind of like almost like plasticky. So it actually ripped apart. And then that's all I had on me right now, and I'm getting ready to go through some hard times. So I was going grocery shopping, trying to find something simple that I could buy. What's the healthiest thing? I couldn't find nothing that was like actually affordable, that would be healthy in there. So I got some little ice cream. It melted since I made this video, but that it tastes good, so it might be the most healthy thing and uplifting. But I bought this ice cream like that, and this dude was at the cash register. He's like, "Oh man, you need a belt, man." He said sometimes, like when you offer things, if you say it kind of whack, like people don't want to accept it because it's like a little bit like it would be like you kind of lose some. It'd be like, it kind of feels like a little bit, you feel less than to accept things if someone presents it the wrong way. But he presented it exactly like he would be happy to give me a belt right now. You need a belt, and I'd be happy to give you a belt. He said it really cool like that. And I was like, he's like, "Do you need a belt?" I was like, "Yeah, man, I damn well need a belt." So as he's at the register, it's like a kind of mom and pop store for groceries, but also like they have some of the best groceries for a long time. So it's a mom and pop store, but they actually get some stiff competition to the bigger stores around here. But it's kind of like a small, intimate store venue, like with a lot of the same clientele. But as he's at the register like that, he takes his belt the hell off at the register and gives it to me like that, like cool, like good, like really cool, like cool, not mess up about it. Cool, man. You need a belt, man. Check this out. I got you right here, man. Gave me the belt. So some people say give you the shirt off their back. When's the last time someone gave you the belt off their waist at work, at a cash register, in front of customers like that? Some real ass shit like that. And that was that brother. He would have been like European American. And then I took this trip. I've made references to the trip that I just took, but I got so much trouble in this trip because I left on bad footing. But I got so many mercies. As much trouble as I got on that trip from situations and people, I got equal, opposite, and more blessings from situations and people, such that life is so much of problems, so much of challenges, but just a little bit more of blessings. And so there's a way through, but it's actually our choice to accept the way through, and also to help others the way through, which is also ourself, and it come back around like that. So I've helped people at different times in my life, more so when I had more means. But I got help, and a lot of times I didn't ask for help. Like I didn't ask for a belt. I just looked like I needed a belt. And but that belt that he gave me is a proper belt for a man, because it doesn't even have a like the regular hoop like that. That's like a military belt. You're not even sure how to tie that thing, but it's sturdy like that. It's like damn near, you could hoist something like you could probably hoist like 5 to 10 times the weight of a human being, you could hoist that with this belt. So there's no way that it's gonna have any problems even after I eat this ice cream. It's sturdy like that. That's what that brother did for me. And so I just want to say that we actually are one soul, one life, one love, but also one soul. We're one soul, and that's what it is to meet a soul brother. And it doesn't have nothing to do with ethnic this and that, race this and that. It's a soul brother like that. But I think maybe people will help you differently, but it's the same soul that people are helping you. And so like that brother, like some of those friends I grew up, they helped me like with like support, like for that, because I'm sure they could appreciate like how I was failing socially. Those friends I mentioned, they took me up under their wing. They were funny as hell, but they're also savvy too, and they kind of took me up under their wing, all of them, those two friends and their older brother at times. Because they felt a way about that older brother. He once said that he saw himself in me. He said that at a party in front of like some street people, the cool people of the area, the street people. They're like this DJ for KMOJ here in Minneapolis. We were friends with that DJ at his apartment, and he was talking to that dude's older brother, and he was like, but I never seen you check G like that before. How come you don't check G like that? He's like, because G doesn't do stupid shit. He'll like stand up, he'll take up for you in public. He's like, cause he said it clearly, like, he said, I don't check T because T doesn't do stupid shit. He said it like that. And then another time he was like, why'd I bring that up? He was like, he's like that, but that's the way. He's like, but that's what I see myself in you. He's like, that's the same way I see myself. Scared as hell. I was scared as hell like that. I see myself in you, man. He said it cool like that. And then one time, he was a shoulder for me to lean on one time when I needed a shoulder to lean on, and I'll never forget. That might have changed my life because I learned love and compassion from that older brother. He was actually from the street, because he didn't get along in that family, and so like some people you don't fit in or even belong in your own family. I'm gonna be like that now, and he was like that then. So he was actually in the streets because of some of that family was in the suburbs. They were from the suburbs, but he was already in the streets as a young person because he was having conflict at home. But he had so much swag that he would be like, we'd be young men, barely young men. He had never been to school, but he'll pull up driving something he'll come up driving a Durango or something like that back in the day, like some kind of like fly car like that. And you're like, damn, how are you driving this? Is because he would have beautiful people that wanted him to have beautiful things because he's him. That kind of stuff. So like a lot of people, like you might be like flossing this and that, like balling, but you pay for that. But with him, he would always have like people bless him with stuff, give him things, because people just connected with him like that. He would that's the fly thing like that. So he was real like that. But he one time was a shoulder for me to lean on, and he'd be very kind to people. Like I saw him take up for women who were being intimidated publicly, and he stood up to people publicly. He didn't care if a person was affiliated or not. He'll stand up to them right then and there like that to take up for someone, and that really inspired me to see that. But so that's all I want to say with this video, and I hope this can be of value. Peace.